Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we're actually seeing a little bit of kind of tension going on, some drama going on when it comes to the fact that some PlayStation games are slowly becoming unaffordable. Now, as you guys probably know, like America, UK, Canada, like all the very big, like normalized countries in terms of like good economies, good like currency value, whatever, can usually afford most games. If you ask, and you guys are Americans, you guys want to buy a game, I'm sure you guys have bought a $60, $70 game or have like a PS Plus Game Pass subscription. And at the end of the day, like it's not the end of the world to go buy a video game for yourself. But right now we're seeing outside countries kind of taking the hit. As you guys probably know, certain countries maybe are not necessarily doing as well, or they may not make as much money every single month or year. Sometimes currencies are weaker, and sometimes just the game value itself is hard to compete with. And right now we're actually seeing a little bit more of a global issue. And we've also got this too as well for like the Switch and Xbox, and this is mainly in regards to the PlayStation, where it is harder to afford games. And these kind of more impoverished countries and people who don't make as much money are now struggling to be able to even afford video games in the first place. Mainly due to the fact that there's a lot of greed involved, mainly the fact that some games are still like, even though like say some countries are way poorer, in the general sense, they're not able to afford it. And we're going to talk about this issue because people are not happy. We've been seeing some actual virality going on to it. So let's go and talk about it. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Leave a like on the video too. With the Twitter and Twitch if you guys want to go and follow. And of course, give me your thoughts and comments on everything down below. And especially if you guys are on an outside country or know people, say like in the Philippines or anywhere it might be, let me know down below. So as I mentioned, right now we're kind of seeing a little bit of a big issue. Now we've had a few intriguing things. Mainly because even going back to the PlayStation Plus changes, if you guys do remember, we saw huge increases on like American prices, European prices, but as well certain regions like India, places in Africa, places in South America, some even places like Japan, etc., Asian countries, they still had increases, but the value is slightly better, but at the same time, their purchasing power for their currency has gone down quite a bit. Now, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of different things like the USD to yen, like we've discussed that a little bit, and it does actually seem like it's getting a little bit better. If you guys can look at, like, say, like the past, like 1 year or so, it's still on a little bit of an up and up, and thankfully it's kind of tapered off a little bit. But right now, you guys can kind of see the American dollar in comparison to the yen is not good. Like the value for it's on the mediocre side, and at the end of the day, like it's just not a good value. Now they've done a few different things like selling U.S. bonds, etc. But this is the perfect example: is that the currencies do fluctuate, and sometimes the money doesn't go as well. But one of the bigger issues is that we're now seeing people calling out certain places, games, etc. over here, and this is especially in regards to PlayStation. This is over here from Amir stating, PlayStation has now just updated their prices in Turkey over here. And you guys can see my degenerate sleep schedule. And the games now cost $85. This is a country with a $400 median salary. What the actual hell, he says. Gaming on PC is much cheaper in comparison. I literally cannot afford games on the PS5 anymore due to this. These prices have to be illegal. Now let's go talk about this a little bit. As I mentioned, sometimes certain countries, they just don't make as much money. Like look at, I'll just use maybe Ukraine as a good example. If you want to go and sell them a video game, that country is not making as much money or a comparable amount of money, and especially when it comes to like disposable income, than say America or even the UK. Just because the economies are different, the standard of living is different, the overall like economy and workforce is different, and like in some cases, like we use for the Japanese example, the USD is stronger. And obviously, what are people trying to sell games for? Like in comparison, the USD value when we're making games, and say like all these Californian-based companies, what are they kind of representing the price points of? United States dollars, and engineers and animators and graphic designers and people working in places like California and other expensive tech hubs. So in theory, they want to make their money back. And rightfully so. I get it. But some countries now cannot even they're getting close to they can't even afford this. If you're making $400 a month, and don't forget you have like rent, you have car payments, you have gas, food, utilities, like maybe you have kids, maybe you have electricity costs, everything. Like it's a lot of money. And also to save up for money and save up for retirements or trips, vacations, dogs, animals. Like I'm sure you guys know, living is expensive. Living is very expensive. And you may not be able to go and justify a $85 and like their equivalent value of the currency based on what they're stating, especially if you're only making $400 a month. Now, obviously, there is various price points. Some people make more, some people make less. Gaming is a want rather than a need. Although I'm a big gamer myself, I like it. So like there is a few justifications of why it's like that. Like I understand those comments, yes, but like it sucks because basically this is PlayStation's call over here. And they're saying for context, this same exact game, looking at Assassin's Creed Shadows, is about $25 to $30 cheaper on PC and on Xbox compared to the PS5 store for anyone claiming that this isn't a purely Sony problem. Now, as I mentioned, we have seen other regions have this similar thing. It's very hard to compare this stuff. We've even seen PS5 prices as another good example. Like Plus tiers, Game Pass tiers. Game Pass is different prices in every country. Mainly because, once again, different countries have different value, different like standard of living. Like if you want to sell a game in Brazil or a console in Brazil, and that's why we usually do focus on selling things in like Canada, America, Australia, like maybe Japan, etc., like UK, because they just have more disposable income, so it's more justifiable to sell a $500 console in America, versus maybe selling a $250 console, same hardware, same cost, to someone maybe in Brazil or maybe even in Turkey, etc. Like I'm sure you guys understand the basic side, where some countries just don't make enough money. It's like compared to, say, from Mexico. Or in Mexico, they'll go and have various food and meat and whatever. Pretty much almost the same quality, if not maybe even sometimes sourced from the same locale. Maybe the same thing for America, different cities. Maybe from the same exact farm. But in terms of like just transportation, taxes, standard of living, production, whatever it might be, the prices do change. So right now it kind of goes to show that PlayStation is, they're overly charging these games. The ratios are completely off the wall, and people are not happy with this. Because in the same exact game and examples they've mentioned, as is kind of getting a lot of attention over here, like this was only made 30 minutes ago, is that the same exact game is only 2,050, which maybe it's the euro, I could be wrong on the currency itself, for the same exact Assassin's Creed Shadows. You guys want to see the comparisons for it. So it's crazy because these price points are ridiculous. So basically in Turkey, here's them showing the example. The medium salary is around 7,330 of like the try. I'm not sure exactly what the currency is, but it's around $405 USD per month for the ratio. And at the same time, this game, 2,800. So look at the comparison between the totals. This is ridiculous. But thankfully, some places like PC or Xbox are cheaper price points, like $1,749. Still a lot, don't get me wrong, but this is like, it's not half, but it's pretty much half the price of PlayStation for the same exact game. You guys look at America, where you have selling games at probably the same exact price point. It's like $60, $70, depending on the game, $40 for cheaper games, whatever. This is nuts. So they're basically calling out PlayStation on how this is a big issue. And other people are kind of agreeing. You would think that companies that make billions of profit would want to satisfy their base and be less lucky people. So basically they're saying Sony should still be taking care of gamers and kind of instilling that good vibe and wholesomeness to other countries where they may not have good exchange rates or USDs. And some people are saying like this is quite literally price abuse. Charging a poor country more than anywhere else is insane to them. Steam changed their regional pricing to just dollars, and it's so much cheaper than it's crap. Basically, it seems like Steam is just a better product. And also, some people are saying, too, as well, like, it's not Sony's fault. But they're like, nah, this is Sony. They set the recommendation prices. And I can actually agree this does happen. I'm not sure for other countries. But they'll be like, we recommend you sell this game at $70. Walmart will be selling it at $70. So if you're Best Buy, sell it for $70. And it's nuts. And they're also saying, too, as well, apparently the price point has also been increased. So it was at $2,000 a couple of weeks ago. This is nuts. And they're also saying, too, there's other various regions, too, as well. And this sucks. So, like, this is sad. This is really sad to see because these outside countries just can't afford the games. PlayStation is quite literally pricing out these poorer countries. And it is a weird issue, mainly because, like, how much profit do you lose? How cheap do you do it? I understand why you'd maybe want to just sell games to America instead, but some of these games are just digital downloads. So I would probably say for a pure digital download game, and you're running it through your own store, make it like affordable. Like I feel like you should be able to go and kind of live adjust this relatively quickly and easily, especially for PlayStation. Now, if it's maybe physical games, maybe it's a pure PlayStation game, because you're using Assassin's Creed as an example, or like consoles, it is a harder, and I'm not really sure the best example for it. I probably just would do what they kind of do already, mainly sell the game in like United States and the UK, except like, consoles like that. But it's crazy because people are not happy with this. I also saying like, console players always get taxed the heaviest. That's why I switched to PC. Second turkey price increase in less than a year. PlayStation, ironically, for the payers, not the players, just for the payers. And it sucks. Economy is so bad, consoles cost more than the PC. As a Turkish citizen, I wonder what made Sony think it would be reasonable to sell games here for 80 euros. We have the same prices as the EU, but we earn nowhere close to what we do. Meanwhile, despite the recent hike, Microsoft still offers Game Pass for better prices in Turkey. So people are not happy. I think this sucks, and I would like to do more of a deeper dive in this one, but this is like, I feel bad that PlayStation's kind of price gouging out people out of the economy, if this is all true, and it seems like it is based on the pictures and proof, and I feel bad about it. For anyone who's in these more impoverished countries, compared to say America, Americans, we're doing fine. All outside places, not so much. Give me your thoughts and comments on everything down below. I appreciate your thoughts and comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed. I love you guys.